Fort Worth, let's make a move. Unique is what we do. Take a seat, be introduced to the lives in Fortitude. Burn the town down, Cowtown, let's dance, interact, meet some new friends. Go ahead, cancel all your plans for the stories you'll remember in Fortitude.
Welcome back to Fortitude, everyone. I am your host, J.W. Wilson. We're here with two special ladies and a very special thing they've created and been part of, and we're going to talk about that today. To my left is Rebecca Franchione and Kristy Etheredge. And the reason we're here, the immediate topic of discussion is a show called The Mother Flip on A&E.
That's right.
Thank you, ladies, for being here. I'm one of these ladies I know really well, and another one I'm getting to know today for the first time. But what you guys are involved with, the starring on this new show that's, from what I can tell, has got a lot of room to grow and a lot of good things coming ahead. It's quite impressive what I've seen. So we're going to get into all that today, if you'll allow me. Before that, I'd like to know a little bit about each of you guys, perspectively in your own backgrounds. We'll start with you, Kristy. That's okay.
Yeah.
Kristy Etheredge. Mm-hmm. Where are you from?
Well, I'm from the giant town of Jourdanton, Texas.
Okay.
Right? Graduated with 84 people in my class.
Holy cow.
Very small farming, ranching community, and this is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Even just being on your podcast is a big deal.
Well, thank you.
So many people watch.
I assure you the thrill is mine.
So very small town, went to Texas A&M University,
Okay.
right? And of course, Coach Fran coached over there, her father-in-law, and went and did experiential marketing. So before I even got into flipping, I was creating all kinds of experiences on the PGA Tour.
Right.
So for 6 years, traveled with the PGA Tour and the NFL Sunday Ticket program, checking out technologies to people at games and tour events.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Rebecca, you have an interesting last name. I think your partner just mentioned it. We'd like to dig into that a little bit, but before we do, what's your background, briefly?
So I have a degree in television and film, mass communications, and I was married to a college football coach forever. Mm-hmm. And my father-in-law, Coach Fran,
Coach
he actually
Fran, yes, he sounds very familiar in this.
He may have played for him. I had the pleasure of writing his book, and so I know you and I met years ago. And then interviewing you for the book was just such a, great experience to kind of get to know all the players better. And so I wrote a book and started flipping houses. Kristy and I built 2 houses as well. And so about 3 years ago, I reached out to a Hollywood contact I had and told him my best friend and I are flipping houses all over the hill country. And here we are. And tomorrow will be episode 5 on A&E.
Oh my gosh. Before we jump too far ahead quickly, so Coach Fran.
Yes.
We know him here as a legendary football coach for TCU.
Yes.
As you mentioned, I might have played for him for a couple years. I love this man, by the way. Tell us a little bit about that dynamic with you and him. How was that in your eyes? How has that been under that scene?
It was really good. I got to experience things in my life. I'm from Arkansas, and so she's from a small town. I'm from Arkansas, and so through college football, I got to go. Did the Heisman with Cam Newton because he played for Brad at Blinn, and we went up there, spent the day with him that day. It was amazing. And 2 national championships with Brad, and then just with Dennis, the Sun Bowl in '98, and then the Mobile Bowl, and then the Independence Bowl, and the Cotton Bowl with A&M, and Independence Bowl was at the Alabama. Just to have those experiences, I grew up going to Razorback games with my father. I'm a huge Razorback, and actually, I call the Hogs in tomorrow's episode of our show.
Oh, nice.
Hilarious.
So just to have the experience, Dennis is a tough cookie. So, and I, I've been the only daughter-in-law, and so it wasn't easy at times. It was very, it was a challenge at times. He's very opinionated, as am I. And so it was just, on the way here, he FaceTimed. I don't think he realized he FaceTimed. He was putting lotion on his elbows and walking around his walker. And I said, Dennis, did you just FaceTime me? And he said, no, you FaceTime me. I was like, no, you FaceTime me.
He's gonna love hearing that one. Yes. What's it having the last name as you do?
Yes.
Does that? How often do you get stopped or asked about your last name because of him? Is that an everyday thing? Once a week?
It's probably about once a week. And my daughter plays club soccer at Alabama.
Okay.
So she gets asked quite a bit at Alabama, professors, people around town, because we're the only Franchiones in America. And so it was funny, years ago, we were at Pebble Beach at the Coaches Classic with Mac Brown and a bunch of legendary coaches. And I told him and his wife, I said, your daughters must have been really lucky because their last name was Brown and they could go anywhere. And our last name was Franchione. And, when he was coaching, it was everyone had an opinion because that's what football fans do,
Yes,
right?
they
Throw
do.
their opinions out. And so there was a while, probably about 5 or 6 years when we go on trips, I became Monica Brown. I just came up with this little alias, so
Nice.
I wouldn't have to say my last name.
That is incredible. Kristy, it says here that you love football. You know everything about football there is. Is that fair?
The crazy thing is I don't know much about football, but I know everything about animals and farming
Okay.
and
Fair.
flipping, okay?
Fair. You have the football covered over here, it
Right,
sounds like.
we've
Yeah.
got it covered.
Okay, so thank you for the background. How did you two connect before the show even was a concept? How did this happen?
So we moved to Wimberley, Texas in July of 2020, and my dad unfortunately fell, and I had to go home to Arkansas and remodel his home so he could stay in it, right? Because all the full bathrooms were upstairs. And I said, Dad, you have one of 3 choices in the hospital. And I actually snuck into the hospital because it was COVID. And the nurse came in and was like, you're not supposed to be here. And I was like, I'm not leaving. So she said, if you leave, you're not coming back. And so I said, we have a hard decision, Dad. And I said, you can either sell your house and move into a assisted living, or you can move into a single story home or keep the house that you raised us in. And he said, I don't want to give up my house. So I had to turn a sunroom into a full bath for him off the den. And we moved his bedroom downstairs. And just the joy that it brought me for my dad to be able to stay in my childhood home isn't just, I can't even, I'll start crying
That's
if I think about
incredible.
it. And so it lit kind of like a little fire about, wait, you could do this for others. You could flip homes, or you could help others stay in their home. And so I met Kristy then. She lived across the street, but I was going to
neighbors.
Arkansas. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And we live in an older neighborhood. I mean, I've got keys to everyone's house, right? And so when I heard that, a new mom had moved in the neighborhood with younger kids, I was just ecstatic. And I get out there and walk every day, and I would be walking past our house and then just never see her. Well, she was helping her dad. Until one day I was just walking out with my pups. I see her and she said, hey, do you mind taking a photo of my daughter and I? And I'm like, yes, finally, I get to talk to this new person. And then I took the photo, and then after that, the rest was history. I mean, we just started walking every day. Our friendship initially just started on just getting out and walking and just exercising together.
Very nice.
Because we live in the hill country, which
Right.
I always tell people is like the heartbeat of Texas.
Right.
So you have like the amazing landscape, barbecue, music,
hills.
food. Barbecue is food, but it's a separate category, I feel like. And so, just all of it, the lakes and the rivers. And so we ended up flipping a house that was
Right next to me.
right next to
Okay.
her.
You did this together?
Yes,
get
it was our
this.
first project.
Yeah, and it was my neighbors. They had already moved into assisted living, but once a day they would come back and feed the 18 cats.
Okay.
But there were 0 litter boxes. And so, I would go over Miss Judy, and Miss Judy, she's just like, Kristy, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I mean, she wanted to sell the house, but it was a hoarding situation. It was a cat hotel situation. So I took Rebecca into the house, and I'm like, this is right next to me. We've got to improve this. And I just said, if we can get them a cash offer, an amazing offer, they're done. They're ready to move out. We will have to catch all the cats and rehome them.
Which we did.
Which
it
we
took
did.
a few weeks.
Yeah. So we ended up brokering the deal on a napkin. That was our first deal ever.
That's a great story.
It is. And so our investor on the show, he ended up getting the house. He said, I will, if you can get me this house for under X amount, you can have it as our office. And so it became we call it our international headquarters.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
And your background in home improvement stems from any particular vein, or just the idea came together and you wanted to do this? You learned on the fly.
Yeah, I learned on the fly, and not only that, just creating experiential marketing events for South by Southwest, brands like A&E, all kinds of mega brands, creating photo experiences, and we would have to build out custom marketing experiences.
Right.
I mean, even for A&E and the Swamp People show, they built out a mechanical alligator for our team. So
Okay. Children?
Yes. So
Oh.
I have a 13-year-old girl, Harper, and a 15-year-old son, Winston.
Okay, so you're doing all this and managing that, yes?
Yes.
Kids are good. They're not causing any too much
No,
trouble?
they're great. And my husband's amazing and super supportive. Retired ER physician.
Very nice.
He's Mr. Dad now.
Okay, that's fantastic.
Mom,
Let's
Mama
he allows
money
you to go
bags.
do these things. This is great.
Yeah.
And I know you have kids.
Yes.
You know where I'm going with this. Tell me some kid stories. You're dealing with the same type of issues, I want to believe.
Yes. Well, I have a 21-year-old in college, and then I have a 19-year-old at Alabama playing club soccer, pre-med.
So a Franchione at Alabama playing soccer, that's got to be a thrill for a lot of people, and maybe you probably hear some feedback in that regard,
I
right?
sure do. Yes. I'm glad it was 20-something years ago. Yes.
yes.
It's been 23 years.
Hard to forget, isn't it?
Yes. And then I have my wild child, Gunner, who is a junior.
Okay. Has Gunner done anything interesting in your life recently
Gunner
we can
does
talk about?
interesting things every day.
Okay.
The latest big thing I feel like that I don't know if I'll ever recover from is I was in Vegas over Valentine's weekend, and I get a call, and Gunner has a party with 350 kids and a DJ and a bouncer at my house.
This is for Gunner's perspective one day when you tell this. So this is good that you're sharing. Good.
Yes.
Look,
Okay.
as a neighbor, to look outside your front door, and I was texting her videos. She's like, "Oh, it's just 30 friends." I was texting her video saying, "Hey, this is getting huge." And she's like, "No." He assures me everything's under control, but I'm texting her, and I see all these cars and just people walking up. It was pitch dark because Wimberley
Right.
is dark skies friendly, so it's very dark. But they're walking up with their phones to the house, and I said,
Because I live at the top of the hill. She lives across the street at
Yes.
the bottom of the hill.
That was very helpful.
So,
I
and it's a
believe.
cul-de-sac. So you have to go by Kristy's house to get to my house. So we just recently got cameras installed around the perimeter of our home in the guest house.
Thanks, Gunner.
Yes. Yes. It's all because of Gunner.
Good. Okay. Thanks for sharing that.
Yes.
That was a good one. Real quick, the book.
Sure.
Before we
Yes.
get into the show, the book you wrote. I've read this,
Yes.
and it came out a year ago.
Yeah, last September 21st.
It is a story about Coach Fran and
Yes.
his life through family, all his coaching stops. And this is your baby. You spoke about the 100+ people you'd interviewed. Luckily, I was one of those, and I'm honored that you called. But tell me about the book real quick.
The
Why
book?
that happened.
Dennis for years wanted a book, and he actually hired someone at Alabama to write the book, and the guy followed him around, and it just never came to fruition. And so he asked me, I think it was probably like 3 years ago at Christmas, he actually moved back to Texas. He actually lived in our international headquarters for about 8 months. And so at Christmas that year, they're across the street, and unfortunately his cancer had come back. And so Texas Oncology is incredible, and he wanted to be closer to those doctors. And I said, well, we have that office across the street. You should just move in there until you find a place to live. So they moved in, and at Christmas, he said, I really, want to talk to you about writing the book. And, it was a scary time for all of us because his cancer had come back, it had spread. And Brad looked at me and he said, you have to write this book for my dad. Like, you have to do it. And so, just not for me, but for our kids, and for, the nephews. And so I started working on it. I feel like the second week after Christmas, I would go over every single day and I'd interview Dennis for hours and hours and hours. And so I interviewed him first, and then we compiled a list of people to interview and people not to interview. And so you're on the good list.
Good, good.
Naughty,
you were on the nice list, not the naughty list.
Good.
And so it was incredible. And so I spent, close to a year and a half writing the book. I have 900 pages plus of interview notes.
Oh my gosh.
The average interview was an hour and 38 minutes, if you can imagine. And it was just incredible. And it was interesting. There were so many stories, and he's such a sharp, he is one of the smartest men there is. I mean, he is. He's brilliant. And so it was so rewarding for me because, he's got such a sharp mind, but for him to hear stories that he had forgotten about, because I didn't think he'd forget about anything ever. And then there were so many great stories too of things that he didn't know happened, but his assistant coaches were so great that they took care of him. So like problems, and he didn't even know what had happened because his assistant coaches were phenomenal. And so they just kind of took care of it, and the head coach never knew.
Incredible.
So that was great. That was very rewarding.
Well done. And again, I've read it. It's fantastic. I think it's an awesome tribute to Coach Fran.
Yes.
So, okay, Kristy, how did this idea for the mother flip happen?
Well, because we walk around all the time, we call ourselves the walking realtors because we were finding houses where people were wanting us to flip, right? And so oftentimes that's how we would find our pocket listings, you know, and those are the best deals, just like my Jack and Judy's deal, because people just want, you can just pay all cash and then you can just go in and flip it quickly. And so we just kind of started calling ourselves the Mother Flippers. And just in our community, I mean, I have this giant police light that we walk at night. Sometimes we're walking
at bear spray
at 11:30 p.m. at night. Yeah,
she carries bear spray.
Out, you know.
Better safe than sorry, right?
Better safe, yeah. And then I have these really dorky, reflective suspenders. So that's us.
She wears a headlamp.
Okay.
That's not us. That's how I don't carry anything. She does all that.
Because I'm the one that's sticking out, like getting all the mosquitoes and everything. Yeah, I'm just like, Rebecca, yeah.
Good.
So just starting that and just kind of become known as the Mother Flippers, and we just think it's just fun.
How did A&E? How did this deal get put together with A&E, the television station?
So in 2018, Gunnar and his best friend Owen did a Microsoft Christmas commercial, and it was amazing. And the hit of 2018, and then Microsoft called and said, we want to do a Super Bowl commercial with the boys. And so one of our closest friends in San Antonio, the Bynums, their best friend is Brent Montgomery, who created Pawn Stars and a bunch of great shows. And so John put us in touch with him, and his vice president at the time was Joe Weinstock. And so, we got tossed to him, and so we started talking about the boys having a show because Owen's in a wheelchair and has some special needs, and then Gunnar's like the popular spiky hair wild child kid, Mr. Comedian, and it's just a great story, and their friendship is inspiring. And so we kind of went in discussion about a show, and then COVID happened and kind of shut that down because he couldn't get out because he's high risk if he gets sick. And so Joe and I stayed in touch. So 3 years ago, Kristy and I were downtown Austin getting red spa treatment. And I said, I need to reach out to Joe. So I just emailed Joe and said, the boys are still good friends. We moved to Wimberley, and I sent recent pictures of the boys. And I said, by the way, I said P.S., which no one really says P.S. anymore. I said, P.S., my best friend and I are flipping houses in the hill country. And he wrote back, that could be a show. Turns out he had just started his own production company based off a huge conglomerate in the UK. And so we started talking and having weekly meetings and sending him footage.
Wow.
And we flipped a cabin in the woods, and then we started flipping other houses. We started building houses on the river. We were very successful. And so we had a sizzle reel, and we met with a very large network, and they put us on hold. And so he said, you know what, I have Duck Dynasty, I have Bar Rescue on A&E, they're amazing. And we met with them, and they just felt like home from the beginning. They're perfect network for us.
I mean, and the hill country is like the Wild West. I mean, there's so many animals. It is vastly different than other areas. You've got the limestone, the hard rock. I mean, there's a lot of challenges that we go through that other flippers don't experience.
Yeah, if you're in city limits. I mean, episode 4 last week, there's a raccoon, rats, squatters, there's all kinds of stuff. Still in HVAC.
Well, watching what I watched, it's very clear to me that the dynamic between you two is strong. You can see programs here and there where you can tell it's forced. It feels real with you two. You can tell there's a friendship. You tell you care, and you'll say something and she'll comment, or vice versa.
Yes.
There's some cursing, which I appreciate, because Lord knows the things you've walked into house-wise.
Oh gosh.
They demand some of the language that comes out. It's the best. The show Mother Flip, how many hours would you say goes into filming one episode? Because you get an hour of the show, and it shows from start to finish. And the very first episode is the hoarder episode, which is an incredible scene because it's a mess. And what you guys turned it into, remarkable. How many hours go into making that look like it looks in an hour show?
So we started off the first week. So we filmed 10 episodes, 10 houses, July 10th through December 14th. So we had 5 months. And so I love to tell this story because we just actually worked with this guy last week in San Antonio on a project. But there was our associate bill producer was from a very well-known house flipping network and came up to us at the beginning, first week, first house, and said, there's no way you girls are going to flip 10 houses in 5 months. And I said, excuse me? Well, I came from this network and there's no way. And I said, do you want to bet? Like, let's place some money on this. And so I brought this up when we saw him last week, and he said, I still can't believe you guys did it. And so for us, we started with two houses the first week. We spent, then the next week they added 3 houses. So we are filming 5 houses on any given day. A lot of times we go from one house to the next, same day. And I would say 5 weeks. Most of the houses were 5 to 6 weeks of filming. It is 24/7. It is GoPros in every room, outside. It is us on camera 8 to 10 to 12 hours a day.
Oh, wow.
And then the camera's always on. So we learned very quickly to write notes. So we had a little notebook with us because we started going to the bathroom together because it was our only like alone time. But you're not alone because there's GoPros.
We didn't do that.
And then there's your mic. So you're always on like the live mic. And so we learned really quick. Everything we say can and will be used against us. So we're just going to write notes. And so the bathroom was like our safe space to write notes to each other.
Interesting.
Not that we wrote anything bad, but just, I'd say like, oh my gosh, it's hot as balls. I said that all the time.
Yeah.
And then I said, Kristy, you've got to tell me if my hair, because it was so hot. We started filming in July.
And they just signed us April 26th. So it's not as if we had a ton of time to find these houses. I mean, it's pure madness to flip all, 5 to 10 all at once. We didn't have anyone with our hair, with our we ended up
didn't
with
have hair and makeup.
110 outfits, right, that we're trying to coordinate.
Bringing to the show.
There was someone to actually keep track of the outfits because if we're going to various houses, in TV land, it's a different day. So there's that.
Yes.
And it was just a wild experience. And if my husband hadn't been so supportive, I wouldn't have been able to get through it.
Her husband was great. My son went off to play college baseball and actually came back because my daughter was going off to college to help with Gunner. Because I got divorced and my ex moved and then Gunnar switched schools. And so then it was a whole, and it was hard, because we had to be on set a lot of the time between 7 and 8. And 2 of our houses were an hour and 45 minutes away.
The burnout houses.
Yes. And so
it's round trip, almost 4 hours round trip.
Yes.
Wow, okay.
And so everyone had to band together basically. And I told Wyatt, I said, look, we've got to stick together. I told Brad, and Brad was amazing. He was very helpful with, I'm not going to be able, we're filming here this week. Like, you're going to have to take Gunnar to school, because Gunnar wasn't driving. And then her husband is always supportive.
Fair.
So it was nice.
So each show has you have a challenge ahead of you, turning this house into this house.
Yes.
Is there a thing you're looking for? Because every story needs to be, you can't have the same house. You need a different compelling reason to do this. The hoarder house we already talked about.
Yes.
It's full of shit. There's shit everywhere.
It is shit
And
everywhere.
I
don't even want to get it.
And one of you commented, maybe it was you, about how this place is awful, and what we saw on TV was awful. And again, it all went away and became this thing. How do you find the houses and going forward? Are you looking for something, or just you see it and there's something strange here that we got to solve, and that becomes the compelling idea?
I think one thing I will say before I answer that is A&E, they were very strict, and I appreciate it now, and I think I appreciated it from the beginning. Of every single house has to be different. They said, we don't want this to be a cookie cutter show. We don't want every single house to look the same. And so they really challenged us. Like, every single house has to be different when you're done with it, right? And even the buy side, we it just all came about organically. And so there wasn't, we always look at roof, HVAC, foundation. Those are kind of our big whammies. And I feel like every house just kind of came along the way it should. It just all kind of happened the way it should, right? And then we had a house that our friends held on to. I was telling my friends, we're going to get a show.
This is our last one. So it's just like, hey.
And, I had friends that were moving, and then we had wholesalers looking, and then Elvis, he was on episode 2. He's always, and then our realtor, I got to give our realtor for 7 of the houses, Jessica Tomberlin with JB Goodwin. Shout out to her. She's done 19 deals with me in the last year.
Wow.
I've done 7 houses the last 4 months on my own.
Oh my gosh.
Well, Elvis has been my business partner, but and so I've done project managing, designing, And so Jessica, she would look, I mean, we would film all day, and then at night she would send us 5 to 10 every single night, because we had only bought probably half of the houses before we started. So we bought 6. So we had to find 4 during filming,
which was almost impossible to try to go through. And we did miss some things because of that.
Right.
But every house just kind of naturally had its own story because they were so different, you know? And so I think that had they not challenged us, I don't know if the show would have been the same.
Right.
Because, I mean, obviously our personalities, you know, are fun and all that. But just, I mean, these houses are just shitholes.
Can you share some of the difficulties, but maybe behind the scenes? I know you show a lot of you guys breaking stuff, which is freaking hilarious. But what are some of the true challenges in doing this kind of thing? If you can you share some of that?
I think for us, you know, we stay away from mold. So there was a house we looked at for the show. It would have been a great one. It was around the corner from us, but it was just mold infestation, and we're just like, we can't do it. Like, it's going to take too long to remediate it, and we just don't want to be exposed. You know, we love to get our hands dirty. We're more than just talking heads. And so we get down and dirty. In fact, my last house I just flipped, I sold in a week, thank God. And so I'm going to Vegas the day after on 9/30. It closes on 10/1. I'll be in
Big
Vegas.
day for gambling.
Big day, yes. And for a celebration.
Paid. Mama's getting paid.
I
Don't
am.
lose all that money in Vegas.
I'm not
No,
going to
she
lose
won't.
it all.
They're very
I'm not
smart.
going to lose it all. But Kristy, I had her come and help me with the landscaping to save money, because there's always challenges with every single house. I just know I have so much confidence in us that we can take on any challenge. And then, you know, there was all kinds of mishaps on the show that naturally happen, because when you're buying houses to flip, you expect there's going to be there's always hidden surprises. Like every single house, she and I can walk through a house and think we know everything, and we don't know anything.
I mean, once you start opening up the walls, even just with the house number 4, the raccoon house, there was so much even more trash in the walls.
Oh, wow.
The animals had
There's
been
a lot of
storing
driver's
stuff.
license,
Yeah, that
which was weird.
But then there was also like pubes in the seat,
Oh,
like
no.
like in the sink. The bar cart that we
Yes.
transformed, and
Yeah,
because that
I
guy
know.
would randomly shave, and it was weird.
So,
There's weird stories.
From finding a house, filming, completing production, what's the general time frame we're talking about here?
Well, we had like 4 to 6 weeks per house.
Okay.
But then the final 3 houses, I think we were on a 3-week.
Yeah.
3-week
Are they
timeline.
happening at the same time?
Yes.
Are you doing a house here, film a house here, back and forth kind of thing?
Yeah, so some
Okay.
days we go to 2 houses at once. Some days Monday would be at this location, Tuesday at this location, and then we had, you know, the open houses, the reveal, and then a lot of our houses sold first weekend. They were like great.
That's
great
fantastic.
buys.
A&E hired a great team, and so did Rose Rock. And so these are very experienced professionals. So we had our build schedule and we had our production schedule. And we would just kind of float amongst doing all the permitting and getting our staffing, getting all the supplies. It was just a full time. You don't check out, you just stay focused.
And it's 7 days. So we may only film 5 to 6 and Sunday's off, but Sunday's not off, because we're looking at the week ahead. We're having a design meeting. We're having a builder's producer meeting. Like, it's just never ending.
I mean, I think there's a reality show behind the reality show,
There
right?
is.
Because to do them all at once is just crazy.
Sure. And I think the dynamic you guys put together, like I was going to ask you, what's the difference between your show and other home improvement shows? But clearly it's something to do with the friendship. You guys are beautiful people. Let's be honest here. You guys are attractive people. And you're not just talking heads, to your point.
Yeah.
You're doing stuff.
Yes.
What is the real difference between you guys and other home improvement shows?
So I think for us, you know, we're more than just talking heads. I don't watch a lot of those shows because I'm busy with the kids. You know, they were all athletes. And then I was working on the book also for almost 2 years of my life. And so I think that, you know, we get down and dirty. It's funny, the other day we were somewhere and a show was on a network, different network, and the host had all these beautiful nails, and I'm like, what is this? I mean,
If you
in a white
says
sweatshirt, and I'm like, wait, what is this?
You can't have nails.
You can't have
I
nails.
mean, they break all the time, and that's when you're really getting
Can't
in
be
there
wearing
and doing the
white.
work.
I mean, you're gonna get it filthy. And then 2, all of our houses are so unique, but then also we love to save money, and we're moms.
source
And we're
Yes.
hustlers.
save money.
And I just feel like this is kind of a rise from the ashes Phoenix situation for both of us, because she owned this huge event company. COVID shut it down. And then I volunteered full time for over 10 years. And then I was getting divorced and I having to start over. And so for me as a single mom, it's kind of like you have to kind of reinvent yourself, right? And I can't just volunteer full time. I have to have income. And so everything kind of came along the way it should.
And there's women that are doing that every day. I mean, they're nervous, right? But if you can do it yourself, but if you can find a friend too, and get in there and just hustle together, change each other's lives.
I mean, it's really that, it could be that simple, right?
Yes.
Find somebody you trust that you love working together and just go.
Yes.
Well done. What's been the hardest? You've had 10 episodes
Yes,
filmed?
10.
I've seen the first 2.
Okay.
What's been the hardest house so far?
So,
I
go
felt
ahead.
like number 3. The abandonment.
Okay, yep.
Okay, yeah. And that's a good episode. You need to watch that one.
I watched the first and the abandonment episode.
Oh, you did?
Yes, so
Okay.
that's a good one.
Yes.
Well, explain.
Yes.
So we had the roof leak and everything was taken down the studs. We had to move a staircase. We wanted to open up the kitchen. It was load bearing, so we only got to open it up. We went ahead, invested in one beam across to get rid of one wall. The other one we could just widen it 3 feet.
The chimney.
And the chimney was an issue. And I just, for me too, the last episode, Critter, just to have the squatter and then all the critters and then we had foundation issues which weren't on the show, and then we had to replace the HVAC because it was stolen.
So on the show, you just see the hero rooms, and that's on any show. They have the hero rooms. That's your kitchen, your master bath. But we are responsible for flipping all the other bedrooms, all the other bathrooms, every single thing. So there's so much more meat,
Right.
but they just don't have enough time to show it all.
Fair. So filming, how many hours of tape get compiled into 1 hour of a show?
I can't even. It's on average 5 weeks, and it's 24/7 cameras rolling, GoPros, and then we had camera A, camera B for 8 to 10 to 12. Yeah. Hours a day, so 5 to 6 days a week, so thousands of hours.
They would film, and then it's overnighted.
Yes.
Okay.
We don't ever get to see
California.
it again.
You're already
It
on to
starts
the next
post.
house.
Oh my
Not
gosh,
bad.
yes. There's no break. It's just go, go, go.
Are you guys, I know how hard this must be. It's in my mind, and Rebecca has told me before, but are you guys loving this? Is
Oh
this
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we
still
love it.
exciting as hard as it is?
Oh, I just did 7 houses
yeah.
in 4 months.
You can
Yes.
do it. There's a formula. If you
pretty
put
cool.
your
Yes.
mind to it, there is a formula to do it, and you've got to have your good team, right? We've gone through a lot of people to get where we are,
Yes.
to have our solid teams in place.
And something else I think is important too is we have great relationships with, like, now we have a countertop company, we have our cabinet people. We actually just met with a new cabinet company up here. We met at the Kitchen and Bath Show in Vegas in February. And so when we have our flooring people and our tile people, because you can get ripped off pretty easily in this
so many
business.
consumers
Sure.
do.
Yes, because people upcharge on everything. And so we are so fortunate, and thank God we built those houses. Our boss, Joe Weinstock, the president of production company, Rose Rock, he said, go ahead and build these houses. And so we built a house in 9.5 weeks, went through past every inspection, every permit,
every
City of Wimberley,
inspection.
sold for $850,000, 1,200 square foot house, then built one next door in 16 weeks and sold it for $1.4 million.
Oh, wow.
And on the river, 2 river houses. And so that helped us, I feel like, with the show,
And
because
that's what I love to do more. I'll tell you, I
she wants to build
wanna just
more.
build,
She wants to build brand new, and I just want to flip.
Okay.
Yeah,
fair.
we differ in that.
Yeah.
Very nice. You've done 4 now that have become public. Have people noticed you from the show yet? Have anybody said, "Oh my gosh, you're the person on
Yes.
the flip"? Has
It's-
that happened yet?
It has, especially in Wimberley. We live in a small
Wimberley,
town.
yes.
So every time I go to HEB, people are coming up. The other day I went to the gas station and kind of got bombarded by 4 people. The gym every single night when I go work out, people. And so I think the more our show gets out, I think obviously it'll be a little bit more. Right now, we're kind of in our little cocoon in our tiny little town. So, who knows? We have a morning show next week. We have more podcasts next week. I've got some other things that we're moving and shaking for us. And so I just think the more the word, we talked yesterday or 2 days ago when we were driving up here, there's not really any home flipping shows in Texas right now.
Right.
So we need to get this word out in Texas.
Right. I think that's fair. Have you guys seen any reciprocal being confident women versus some of the other shows that deal with men? Because I wouldn't believe it's primarily
It's a male's world.
A male's
Yeah,
world
for
in
sure.
the home remodel.
For sure.
Yep.
Has that done anything for you guys, or has that made a splash in your lives, being who you are and what you know to be true from past? Any difference there?
I mean, I think, when I just finished the house in Dripping Springs, 3,600 square foot house, I did it in 6 weeks. I sent the network, Joe sent the network every week, my progress. And I just sold it for $1.1 million in a week, multiple offers. I paid $610 for it, and I put about $120 in it. I've got 2 partners on it at Mill. And so when I had her come at the end, I called her my closer to do some landscaping. I looked around and I counted, I had 65 men working for me. And I was like, this is really nice.
That is really
this is a male's world, but they're so thankful for me because I don't micromanage, and we talk about their schedule and what they're going to do, and I just kind of let them do their thing, and then I'll come through as the designer and project manager and see what's going on. But I trust, we use on this house, the teams we use to build the river houses, and I trust them. And so I have this good network, and then my oldest son and his friends do the demo and landscaping. So I've got that little built-in crew now. And so I think it's taken time for us to accumulate and be where we are because it is a man's world.
Well, in full transparency, it was hard for some of the contractors because even on the show, if it's not filmed, it didn't happen.
Fair.
So they would go. We would get certain parts done of the shower, and then you couldn't film again. And they just want to complete it.
Yes.
So we lost some contractors along the way.
Fair.
Of people that we had really, really trusted. But at the same time, moms are excellent project managers, right? We're used to balancing budget, all the chaos of the kids, and it's a natural role for a lot of females.
I would imagine so.
I think it's a great field for females, and I feel like, hopefully we can inspire others to do this because it is rewarding and you can make a lot of money, and it's not all sunshine and rainbows.
Very
I didn't
nice.
tell you.
Sure.
Like, we're not going to act like it is. It's hard, and there's so many different components, and your brain really never shuts off. And so last night when the new cabinet guy we're working with, he took us to dinner, and we said, we haven't had a meal. Because all we do is work. And then we're texting late at night at midnight sometimes, like da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then she's across the street. She's like, do you want to go on a walk? And so we'll go walk through the neighborhood at midnight, because our brains just are never shutting off. But I think for us, we're both in our 40s. And like I said, I had to start over because of the divorce. She started over because of COVID. And so it's just kind of like this rebirth, and I just feel like anybody can do anything. I always tell my kids the world is your oyster, and so my daughter told me that. She's like, Mom, you've always told us, number one, God is always with you, and number two, the world is your oyster, but Mom, the world's your oyster too, and you have the whole ocean in front of you.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Just being, we want to show our daughters we can be successful in this industry.
Yes.
Yeah.
So best friends, you're together a lot.
Yes.
Do you guys ever get cross with each other? Does that happen in normal relationships? That's a common thing. And friendship will bring you back. But do you guys ever disagree?
I think it's more a little bit. She'll push the budget. I guard the budget like a pit.
And I'm a big dreamer,
Okay,
and I just want to. I want to do what I want to do.
Yes. So
And she's the budget queen.
I am the budget bitch. All right. And
Fair.
nothing is getting. Because we're working towards the same goal, right?
Yep,
We
to make
want to
money.
make that money. We are going to make that money. So we'll have conversations about, I know you want this light, but look, we just can't. It just can't happen.
That's
And so-
fantastic.
But at the end of the day, we're both making money. We're all making money.
We're on the same
So-
page, but sometimes her page gets flipped a little bit faster than my page.
I think
or
I
vice
know
versa.
Kristy how she operates generally. She's very energetic.
Yes.
This can be an easy thing to rein her in sometimes, right?
It's very
energetic.
Yeah, I know, and so
I
I
believe you.
know, right? But it's one thing that we always walk together. We speak quickly. We
Yes.
walk fast.
Oh, we finish each other's
just-
sentences.
Yeah.
And so our boss has us in our phone as Thelma and Louise. But I'm like, we're like Ethel and Lucy or Laverne and Shirley. But he has us under Thelma and Louise.
So many adventures, right? Just even walking, being attacked by vultures,
Yeah, we got attacked by vultures on camera.
trying to this rattlesnake.
When we see the vultures.
No,
that was
none of
before we
this
got the
you
show.
see.
So there's
That was
stuff.
before we got the show.
There's
so
stuff
many
that
things.
doesn't make the show. I'm sure because there's too much to put in.
Oh
an hour.
gosh, we had to catch chickens, and that wasn't. I think it's a bonus clip. If you we need to get you the
Well,
chickens.
here's the thing.
It was fantastic.
And she does not like animals. I'm
Well,
an
don't
animal
say
lover.
that.
Yeah.
I
But you just
I got
she's nervous.
attacked by a dog. I can see the teeth marks on my hand when I was 4.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So I'm not an animal. Horse races in the zoo.
But
That's me and animals.
Yeah, we were filming and there were chickens out, which normally is great in Texas, but not in the hill country because there's foxes.
Right.
So I just could not let them go. They needed to get back in the pen, and they ended up watching us try to get back in the pen, which we were able to help
It was
3
fantastic.
of them.
It is such good footage.
It felt like Rocky.
That
I
is,
mean,
that
that
is.
was so intense.
she was like running around, and I'm like, don't want to touch him, and then she catches one with her shirt, like,
yeah, and
then,
that's never
then I
never
had to touch a
seen, but we saved
chicken.
their life.
Surely.
and then I had to touch the llama in the abandonment house, like you saw that.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the show encapsulates as best it can the experience of doing what you guys are doing? Because that's a lot of stuff happening just to make 1 hour, but
Yeah.
they're doing a good enough job.
Oh,
in
I
your
thought they
mind.
did an
yeah.
excellent job.
Yeah.
I
Good.
think,
Absolutely.
It tells a good story. There's no doubt. So.
it does, and I cannot thank them enough for letting us be us, because you got to see our humor. You got to see me say hot as balls. You got to see, I dared Kristy last week's episode, like, I'll give you $5 if you stick your hand up in that hole. I mean, things like that. Kristy says she likes things that suck and blow when referring to a vacuum.
I love things that suck and blow, like vacuums and pressure washers and blower,
I'm not blushing. It's hot in here.
like, and then they've got to have good suction.
And so my mom, we were watching it. So that was the day of our premiere, and then we had a big premiere party that night at the theater, and it was amazing. 100 and something people came, and
Oh, wow.
so that morning was just an intimate little gathering. And so Kristy said that in the episode, and my mom goes, Kristy, Mom's so prim and proper. She's like, did you really say that?
Like, I have 8 vacuums.
And I said, let me tell you something, Mom. Do not watch episode 9.
The Lusty
Because
Lake House.
The Lusty
is
Lake
lusty.
House. It's very lusty, what we found in that
We
house.
found crazy shit.
Like, okay. I think if you said lusty, I'm already going.
Yes.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Collectors, some porn stuff.
Oh, no.
Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
Lube.
Okay.
Lube.
Did you use that somehow in the new remodel, in the new situation?
No, well, they never showed this, but I, like, once she found that lube and we were doing the demo, I, threw it up on that ceiling fan. You couldn't get that ceiling fan
Oh,
to come
no.
off. Do you
Yeah.
remember that?
Oh my gosh.
There's some lube up there. I'm
And
like,
then- and
let's see if we can get this unstuck.
Oh my gosh. And then after that episode airs, we'll have to come back and we'll tell you some other stuff with that. 'Cause I don't want to say
Okay,
it
well
right now.
then I was going to ask you the craziest day you had thus far on set or on a property. That might be it, but what's the craziest day you've had together? Is there one that stands out?
So that what's been aired so far?
Yeah.
Just no, in all the houses you've been flipping.
Oh my gosh.
show.
Yeah. I mean, the episode 2 San Antonio house, we found a gun in a wall, which was not on camera.
Yeah.
We found thousands and thousands of dollars, which there was money in the safe, but then I found thousands of dollars the day of her birthday. I had to go clean out the house.
In the garage.
And that was in the front parlor room. And so the owner, the heir's granddaughter, who we're still good friends with, I just kept handing her money. And there is no telling how much money I threw away, because by the time I finally started looking in the bags and handing thousands of dollars of cash to her, we'd already filled a dumpster.
Oh
Four
wow.
life insurance policies.
Yes.
I mean, that house
And
was
old stock
full of stuff.
certificates.
Yes.
And just,
We're
and-
such good friends with her because of it.
oh yeah, it was amazing. So it was rewarding.
That's incredible. Have your friends, each of you, reached out to you to come do their houses now that they know you do these things?
Every
And-
day
Yes.
on
Every
the
day?
way here.
I know your producer, you said, has a list every day, but have
Yes.
people outside of your bubble?
Yes.
Oh, for sure.
Hey, I got a project for
People
you.
last week after the show aired, we got someone, I'm supposed to call her today, in Dripping Springs, and then another person in downtown Wimberley.
Our contractor in San Antonio, he is with the family as we film this show right now, helping them in Jordan.
Okay.
Yes. And then also something amazing is, our dream show, and we've pitched this numerous times, and I'm just going to manifest it right here, JW,
Yes.
is we both want to give back as much as we can. And so I'm from Arkansas. It's very poor. So I would love to go back, both of us, and just renovate people's houses
Fort
in
Smith?
need in Fort Smith.
Yes.
But even I have a family cabin in Star City. The east side of the state is soybean, cotton fields. It's just very, they're farmers, and they produce like what is good in this world. I feel like.
School janitor.
Yeah, and
there's so many people that we would like to gift at least even a partial remodel.
or even
That's
just painting.
fantastic.
I go visit my dad at Father's Day, and I'm driving a few blocks from his house, and every house on the block should be beautiful, right? And it
Right.
could be beautiful, but they can't afford the paint. So even if we could just go back, I just want to renovate. And so last week, I want to renovate houses for people in need.
Right.
Last week, a lady reached out and said, I don't know, but I'm a single mom, and just tugged at your heartstrings. could you please gift us a house? And I said, oh my gosh, I need to go buy a Powerball ticket and win it, and I would give you a house tomorrow. But right now we're still hustling. We're trying to find our way, right? And
we want to teach people, don't be afraid of it, because if you just take the time, don't get in such a big rush, go to Habitat for Humanity.
Restore. We love that. Lights, tile.
And this is new stuff
Yeah.
that you can get 80% off, that people and builders are dropping off, and it's really a hidden gem for us.
Very
Yes.
nice. It's good to know, actually. You didn't mention, Rebecca, how much profit you made off Coach Fran's house. You willing to share that right now? When you fixed up the house for Coach?
Well,
Surely he paid you.
So
for
he
all this.
rented that.
He got him a great deal.
I did get him a great deal, and I don't really think I got paid anything.
I'm only imagining that to be true, so I'm kind of making a
next
joke.
to me. I mean, I walk divot for them sometimes.
Yes.
What does Coach Fran say to you, Kristy, if you had any interaction with him?
You know what's
Well,
so cool?
today, the FaceTime call on the way in.
But get this. So for 2 years during grad school, I worked for the Association of Former Students in A&M. So I would coordinate Revelie's travel and his travel. So, I was just like a little nothing back then. And of course now he knows me at this point. But yeah, I mean, it's always just very motivational. He respects and loves our friendship. And, I would watch their dog while he was getting treatment sometimes with Kim. And so it was nice that they trusted me, but he's a wonderful man.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So what makes this show a success in your guys' eyes? You've already you've done it. You've got this
Season
thing.
2.
That's
Season
translates
2.
into
We want
success.
season 2.
Yes.
So, we need the ratings to continue to grow. And I think the more the word gets out there, I thought this week I told her I'm going to start reaching out to more of my football connections and having them kind of plug some things for us. It's just been so busy. And, we have a great PR team at A&E that helps. And they've gotten us on iHeartRadio. We did a 2-hour radio tour a few weeks ago.
wow, okay.
And then Realtor.com's been amazing. They featured us because we made a funny joke that, you should treat every real estate listing on Realtor.com like a dating profile. And so the pictures need to be good to get you in.
That makes perfect
I
sense.
got to get you in. And then they did a story on me, and it just made me cry. I think I sent it to you, like about my home, and just to be featured by them was incredible. And so I think the more, people, it's tough because it's football season, right? And I'm, me, I love college football, and so I'm glad we're on at 9 a.m. Central Time because first kickoff's at 11. So you can watch our show from 9 to 10, and then you have a little hour. You can watch College Game Day and kind of get ready. Tailgate if you need to go to a game.
I mean, and just follow us at Kristy and Rebecca, because that helps us. I mean, we can flip like crazy, but we hadn't started socials till we finished the show.
Because we've been working
we
our
didn't
tails
have
off.
any time, so that would be appreciated.
Yes.
That is really great. What's harder, Rebecca, writing a book or flipping a house?
You mean writing a book for Coach Fran?
Yes.
Or flipping a house?
Yes.
Are you really asking me that?
I
What
really
do you think
asked-
the answer to that is?
I think I know what's harder. I just hope
Yes.
you tell us.
You want me to tell you?
It's up to you.
Writing a book for Coach Fran
I
is
imagine
way
so.
more harder than flipping 10 houses in 5 months and filming a show.
I just wanted to be on
24/7.
record because I know he'll watch this
Yes,
and he'll say,
well.
you know what? What a sweet thing those people did.
Yes,
Okay,
it was
good,
very
good.
sweet.
Good. Let's see. The show airs on A&E.
Yes.
When does it air? At what time?
9 a.m. Central, and it is on Hulu Live the next day.
Okay.
It is. If you don't have cable or Dish or DirecTV, you can also buy it on Amazon. I think it's $19.99 on Amazon.
The whole
and
season.
The whole season. Now, granted, they only release what's been released, every week. So people want to think they're going to binge watch all 10. They're not right now. You can watch 4. After tomorrow, will be 5.
But it helps us.
But it does help us.
So how do people find you guys?
Just Google the Mother Flip, and it just even on Amazon.
Okay. Very good.
Yes.
Do that.
All right. What else am I forgetting to ask
I don't
you
know. I
guys?
want to know what Dennis said.
We're going to find out. Maybe he'll comment in the comment section. of the
Okay.
show. Yes. You think he knows how to do that?
I don't know if he knows how to do that. He FaceTimed us on accident on the
Well,
way.
this is very exciting to know, at least one of you, and now you, Kristy. Congratulations on the success. This is a really cool deal, and knowing somebody obviously makes it even more exciting for us. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank
Anything
you.
else we can do to be helpful here and talk about?
No, I mean,
cover
I
it?
think, we just want to inspire women to go after their dreams, and it's never too late. And it doesn't have to happen overnight. I think that's the big misconception. Even if you're remodeling a house, like take your time. Great things in life take time. there's no true overnight success stories, right? Overnight success is a myth. It's not.
It's stamina.
Yes, all of those things all the time. And there's going to be constant obstacles, but great reward does not ever come without great failure and great obstacles. And there's always going to be some sort of something thrown your way, curveballs, all the time curveballs. And you just got to kind of get back up to bat and swing the bat again.
I appreciate that message. So before we go,
Yes.
I'd like to ask every one of our guests a personal question. But aside from maritable stuff, kids, all that, start with you, Kristy.
Okay.
What is the best day of your entire life?
The best day of my entire
Without
life.
any family, children, any familial affairs, best day of your whole life.
So it was the opportunity that the Association of Former Students, Texas A&M, gave me. Obviously, the Aggie ring is very important. And
We can edit that out of the show if you want to.
yeah. But they gave me the opportunity. There was this wonderful person that he was dying of cancer, and he was trying to earn his Aggie ring, and just he was about to pass. And so I got to go up with Reveille and the Corps cadets and deliver that ring to him.
Oh, wow.
And that was really, with all his family there, and we sang the song and everything, that was really the best gift. And he ended up passing 4 days later, and I spoke at his funeral because I've become such good friends, with a Bright family.
Right.
But to share in that moment and have a passion for my university and to be able to gift that to him was really the best day of my life.
Lovely answer. You almost tried to cry there, but you didn't.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. All right, Rebecca, best day of your life.
Best day of my life was the day of our premiere. I just, you work so
Sounds
hard and you have your degree in television and film, and I know how hard Kristy and I hustled. I know how much we manifested, how much God came into power in our lives to make this show happen. And the day of our premiere, I had my closest friends and family come in from Arkansas. We had over 120 people. But that morning, the best day started that morning because I woke up, my daughter wrote sweet notes. I had family come in. They stayed across the street at a guest house or a friend's house that lives in LA. And so just to have them come over, we had this intimate group watch the show. And just to be getting the phone calls and texts and flowers and cards. And then that night, it was our premiere, and to see the theater full.
It was a dream.
It was a dream, and we had a red carpet, and then just, our Jessica Tomberlin, our amazing realtor, she sponsored it. And just the spread of food and drink, which I did not get to partake in because I was too busy talking. Imagine that. But then that night after, we had an after party. And so, at my friend's bar, Willow Lake in Wimberley. And so just to have that little small group of people. And, I think for me, that night, that day, it's like my whole life I wanted a TV show. My childhood best friend since I was 7, I told her one day, and her mom will still say this, I'm going to have my own TV show one day. And so here I am. I'm like getting closer to 50 than 40. And I have my own TV show. And so that day, like just to start off and have that small group at your house watching it and your kids, and then to go and have everyone kind of excited and get ready, and then just to have that, and then Kristy and I got to get up and speak to everyone, and it was just to see
so touching.
everyone that came in for us, just the support and love. And then that night I had my first Jaeger shot since college, which was
a couple of lemon
and
drops.
I had some lemon drops, but I don't ever drink unless I'm in Vegas. And so it was just so nice. And then just the relationships that form from such an experience to me, and to see those people there, and then you just never know. I mean, for all I know, the love of my life could have been there that night.
Right.
I don't know.
I wasn't aware they had drinking in Vegas. You just introduced me to that. I wasn't sure.
Okay. Mr.
So-
Vegas baby vodka.
So, Kristy Etheredge, Rebecca Franchione,
Yes.
the Mother Flip on A&E. Thank
Yes.
you both for the time very much. I'm very excited to know you and to always have known you. Hard work pays off. Awesome job.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Very welcome. That's another episode of Fortitude. See you next time.
Go ahead, cancel all your plans for the stories you'll remember in Fortitude.